we want to hear your opinion on.
I don't have an opinion on it.
Where do you think what's going to happen?
Absolutely nothing. Welcome to episode 22. Thank you for joining us again, 22 weeks in. Today we have a special guest, Luis Briones, a longtime buddy of ours, newly promoted to a vice president of, we'll get into that in a second.
Let's not mention any companies.
Yeah, let's leave that one out.
But in any case, nice to have a guest coming in and hanging out with us today, and hopefully we'll have a good time and we don't ruin this whole experience today.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fine. I think back from all the way back in when COVID happened, we did a couple of these. We had like 5 or 6 episodes, I think, on the internet.
If you want to go back to, what was it called?
The Void.
The Void
Experience.
The Void Experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And thank you guys for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, dude, like, tell us, like, we all met in college. I think we kind of all talked about that in the past here. But yeah, where are you at now in life, and what are you doing, dude? Like, that the people know, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like our college was extended because we had, obviously, I'm sure you guys have talked a little bit about this, but being able to kind of live together in that house for, God, I was there from start to finish, and that was probably 9
too long.
years.
That was too long.
That was like a whole college experience, let alone like the 5-year, because I took the victory lap after instead of a 4-year plan. Yeah, so I mean that was amazing and gave me so much of an opportunity to like set myself up for the next step, because obviously you're paying dirt cheap rent in a crusty old 5-bedroom house that the landlords were so nice, did not raise once, unheard of. I mean, that's never, I don't know, probably it's
I think
had their stuff
that's funny.
raised.
I think kind of going into this house situation, right? I think we were living at this old place right off PCH. And we used to call this place the Void. The first Void, right? It was a 1-bedroom apartment. 3 people living there. 1 moved out. I moved in.
333. Double it 666. So I don't know. Do it with it what you will. It was
but couple.
It's not a good place to be.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but that guy was burned alive outside of 7-Eleven.
Outside of the
Of course I
7-Eleven.
remember, man. I had to go walk
I remember
by.
the remnants. I was afraid to walk there, and we walked there. I don't know, almost once a night.
We were there an hour
to that
before
7-Eleven. It was
happened.
right by it. It was what was it off of PCH and like
7th maybe?
Yeah. It was
No, not 7th. PCH or something.
Stearns.
No.
I don't know. It was off
Anaheim?
PCH.
Maybe Anaheim.
Maybe Anaheim.
Yeah.
It was in just a
Bellflower.
an okay part of Long Beach.
Bellflower, maybe.
I don't know.
It was
Whatever.
right by. If anybody knows where the off-campus dorms
RLC.
are, RLC. I think they changed it to something else, but right by there, the apartment's there, and not an amazing area, but it was all right. It got the job done.
Yeah, I think someone like died there. Like one time we
sure.
were coming up, like someone had like died, and like cops were coming up, like.
Yeah. We saw a couple of those.
So
throughout
Died
the
in
years.
the apartment complex.
apartment complex.
yeah.
So again, that's probably not that uncommon. Like
No,
people
die
die.
every day, right?
No
That's
shit.
yeah.
But I guess that's like a premonition, I guess, of like what the experience is going to be when you... Because that was the first day you guys moved in, right? When that happened, when you guys saw him?
Yes.
Yeah,
so-
for sure.
Let that kind of just be...
And the way we lived there, that was an odd experience too. The only real people who lived there, like on the lease, was Nolan, our other really good friend, and Anthony Gannum.
Yeah.
Shout out to Anthony Gannum. But he was a little guy, very, very much in shape.
Jacked little guy.
Not so clean, but otherwise such a nice guy.
Yeah, and then we moved from there to the big Void house, and again, this whole thing was these guys were people that owned the house were, I would say, 96 and 98. The husband was 98, the wife was 96.
Og and Norm.
And they had a son named John, and what the fuck was the other guy's name?
I texted him for a while.
Jimmy?
No, he was a
James.
James.
He
So
was a deadhead. He loved, that type of music.
Right.
Did acid on the
Grunge.
weekends. Yeah. He was like the kind of guy that like he may or may not have showered like in the last week. You don't know. But then again, nicest guy that you ever would have met. Never raised our rent. Anytime we needed something, he changed out our carpets, let us pick it. We picked like the most like
He was a little racist.
Weird.
I'll be straight
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I guess we're pivoting quickly from the
But the funniest thing...
Yeah, but he was a racist.
It is what it is with the times, right? I think what we really forgot is like...
He was also like...
He was raised by Og and Norma.
He was
old.
70.
Yeah, he was
Yeah. Og and Norma had him at the ripe age of maybe 15, 18. And then he was almost as old as Og
But
and
he
Norma.
didn't look that old. So when we first thought about it, he was like, oh, like he's probably pretty young. I thought he was like 40.
Same.
But then like I started thinking, I'm like, oh, there's no way. These guys...
And he's a twin, right? Or his brother?
Yes.
They looked like exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't...
They own like a bunch of houses in Long Beach.
Oh, he's set.
Yeah.
He's
real
wealthy.
estate wise, they're set. They bought it when it was a nickel. Not really, but they bought it when it was really cheap, and now all their homes are worth
millions.
1.5, 1.82.
Think about this.
You know.
We
It's
were
a
renting the
portfolio.
house in 2013 for $2,800.
Right now, I think it's like $4,000 to rent.
Right?
Well, I think he lives there now.
Oh, he lives there now?
So he decided, I like this house. I think it's the carpet. This guy picked it out along with a couple other guys.
It's disgusting carpet, dude.
No, the new carpet's pretty cool.
blue.
Picture like a zebra with like black and gray ingrained. It's kind of neat.
Your wife would not let you get that carpet in your house.
No, but like as like
Stop.
a post fratty house,
No.
it was all right.
It was a fucking blue carpet, dude.
It was a statement piece.
Blue carpet. That's all I gotta tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You walked in the house. Here's the thing.
I've never seen this carpet anywhere else. I don't know how they had it in.
One of the stories is the reason for the whole carpet change story was we were all sitting in the couch. This was late, I would say, like 10, 11 o'clock. And, you know, we had the hookah going at that time inside the house, mind you, like not safe at all.
Yeah, the cold.
On a, well, it's not a, what do you call those where you like, it's like a piece for the couch.
Oh, an ottoman.
Ottoman. It was on an ottoman, and all of us, like, you know, people are just being kids in college, just knocked over the coal, and no one said, hey, let's put this out. The coal had burned a hole
Through the
carpet into the cement.
Yeah.
And it stayed like that for maybe 5 years.
It did. Yeah.
And that, when I say 5 years of just think about what happens in a fraternity house for 5 years is what happened there.
Yeah.
Be, you know, imaginative.
It wasn't gently used. I'll say that. It was... People were not brushing their feet off before they came in the house. It was very grungy.
Shoes were almost mandatory.
Yeah, you wore your shoes. You know how you take your shoes off when you go inside? That wasn't the case. You kept your shoes on, and in fact, you maybe put something else over them. But overall, for a 5-bedroom house with 5 guys who didn't care that much, it was pretty clean. For all those circumstances.
It was not clean.
No.
Stop.
I cooked in it. It was all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have to clean for an hour before and an hour after, but I would still...
It was a frat house.
Good
It was
stuff. I would cook good stuff.
You know what was a nice house? The mansion.
Yeah.
That was a huge house.
That was a
Yeah.
very different era as well.
Yeah.
I think that was like... We forget. I think that the mansion never would have come had... I mean, and maybe people say
We
this
ran.
kind of
I mean,
stuff.
we walked
We
so the
made
mansion could
we
run.
made this happen. That we would not have recruited the individuals who got that next house without that house. That was the main really cool... And if you want to go even further back than that, we had the duplex, where if we did not have that...
I do remember
that's
that.
when we recruited this guy.
Oh,
And
back
that-
in the 14th.
Yeah. We were
that
playing.
was really
We were playing lemonade pong because good old. Well, I don't know.
The IFC.
The IFC
like
people
that.
were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can't have beer at these rush events. I don't care if you're over or underage." So obviously, we played everything by the book, and we played lemonade pong, and then we caught up. And we found out that we went to the same high school.
Yeah.
And I remember him on TNN, Titan News Network, shout out. You were an anchor? You were an anchor.
I was the anchor.
Yeah, but I think he also did some of the techie stuff in the background.
Yeah.
He's very well rounded.
So we have this person that comes on the podcast every so often, or listens to it on YouTube or whatever, but always seems to comment. And the whole
I think it's Leia or Leah. Is that what you're
yeah. And the whole issue about the whole thing has been, or the thing that she's trying to get out of is like, our first wedgie story. So we did tell our first wedgie story last time. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
She asked about my wedgie, but I've never been wedgie.
But she wants to know about Oscar getting wedgied. And since Lewis and Oscar went to the same school, did you wedgie him?
No, I did not wedgie him. No, and in fact, that school was like to kind of set the field. Imagine like a gated community where everyone's a millionaire that lives there, and then the majority of people went to that school or a private school. So if you did the wrong thing, you were going to get sued. So there wasn't, I don't think, a lot of physical altercations.
Did you say you beat somebody up?
I did not.
You said you
No, I did not. I would say, as far as, riff-raff kind of stuff, I was on the football team, and I think one time there was a substitute. The rowdiest thing I have seen is this guy, I don't want to call out a specific name, but...
We'll call him Joe. I'm just kidding. We know somebody named Joe, so let's not use Joe.
Yeah. Just one of the guys...
Todd. Wait, no, shit.
No. So one of the rascals was jumping up and down on the substitute teacher, and...
Jumping on the teacher?
Kind of, with like his backside a little exposed, and basically the way they handled that, we were running relentlessly the next time that the coach / PE teacher was there, and they have a thing called the T at Tesoro. Yeah. So you go up, it's like a 70-degree incline or so, and you don't wear cleats when you're doing this, and you're just running up there, just kind of climbing for dear life to get to the T.
I think they took that down. I don't think they do it.
Oh, it was awful. And you're in a valley, so it's like, right now it's 100 degrees out, it'd be like 110, and you touch the T, and that was one rep. And it was a lot of work, and I think we did 10 of those.
Did you guys win any games?
We won some games. Yeah. There were some decent, players, but were we like the best of the best? No. Like, I don't think so.
The year before my year, we made it to the state. No, like right shy of state. CIF.
Yeah, is that where we had the big linemen that like they went to like all these like good schools? Yeah, there was a good Cabral. He went to the Navy or Army, something like that.
That's pretty good.
Rob Picasso went to Stanford.
Yeah. And my high school went to the playoff once in my 4 years, one time, and we had the biggest pep rally I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, it was pretty fun. Like when you actually
hear this out, right? So when you just make it to the playoff, you are the last seed. So you play in the first round against the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So our pep rally was like big. The whole school's involved. They were on the football field. The other team's mascot was the dragon, right? So they took our flag. They put it right in the fucking dragon. They were like, we're gonna crush them. You know how much we lost by?
How much?
63-0. They couldn't even score a field goal, dude.
Oh my god.
Maybe you guys are overconfident,
Yeah.
No,
maybe that dragon
sucks.
technique, the dragon slaying was too much.
What was your guys' mascot?
Dude, I don't even remember Waterford Mott.
You remember the dragon so vividly, but you don't even know your
because
own
they
school?
said I don't know. They might have changed a couple times.
Yeah.
Do you remember our mascot?
He had a lot of school spirit. You could tell.
Our mascot?
It was the Titan.
Yeah. I remember my mascot.
But see, that's cool. Titan, you remember?
Dude, what kills a Titan? I don't know.
What kills
Zeus.
the Titan? Zeus.
No, but they said the Titans were mightier than the gods. Didn't you watch Remember the Titans? Old Disney movie?
Yeah, but they all died.
Well,
No, the big
killed them all.
No, he imprisoned them.
No, he couldn't kill them.
He imprisoned them.
Yeah.
They're in jail.
Yeah.
But then
when they bust out, guess who Zeus is scared of?
Damn.
The
It's
Titans.
a ship. That's what. Okay. It was a ship.
Well, a ship is not going to destroy.
So he didn't have a good
Pirate.
mascot. No wonder he didn't remember.
The ship burned, dude. It burned.
Yeah.
Dragons won that day.
No one is afraid of a ship.
No,
let's
no,
be
no.
honest, yeah. But
So you got a new car. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that, dude? Where are we at?
It wasn't out of vanity. I know that maybe some people get new cars to show a certain thing. It was really just a utility thing. My Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I love to drive, just was continuing to be.
I also had a
problem.
Jeep.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
what kind of car did you get, first of all, so the people can know?
Oh yeah. It's a GX 550, so like the new body style.
Lexus, baby.
Yeah, Lexus.
Japanese made.
Yeah, it's a tank. It's
What do you know about Japanese engineering?
I have a
they're very
Toyota,
nice.
dude. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Have you done the first oil change yet?
Me?
Yeah, he drives 5 miles.
I actually
a
been
year
driving
and
more.
doesn't give it an oil change because it doesn't hit the mileage. The mechanic keeps telling him that even if it's 6 months, you gotta change it. But I think it's been 5 years.
I'm pretty close to just like selling that car.
Yeah,
and I don't know, getting like
it's
a
like
Tesla or
sludge
something.
in there for the oil.
But
Electric. I mean, you don't drive that much.
Yeah,
I don't drive that much. But like I put it on Carvana.
Yeah.
And it's a 2015 Toyota Corolla with like 50,000 miles on
It'll
it.
still run forever.
It was they said they would give me 12.5, so I was like, that's great.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's all like paid off, so it's like
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you make your money back. Dude, Toyotas are good cars. A lot of people buy Toyotas and they'll take them to other countries and things like that.
Well, that's why I got the Lexus, because obviously it's like the same, family company. So the reliability, and I had really, really wanted, my dream car was like a Range Rover. But then you hear about those being in the shop so much, and I'm like, why am I going to go for my Jeep that was always in the shop to...
Ford Runner?
Like, that was the other one, but...
It's expensive though, too.
Well, similar,
it's about the same,
a little bit less, probably like a 20% decrease in price. But the main driver behind me going for the Lexus versus like a Toyota There's some nice little bells and whistles that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's
Sure,
just there's some nicer little touch ups that I like. There's massaging seats, heated and ventilated, of course. There's a cool box in the middle, so
Lou's
it
not
won't fit
going
this
off-road.
one. But yeah, I'm definitely not going.
He's
off-roading.
he's not going to Joshua Tree and hiking.
I did get the
overnight.
Overtrail Plus, which is meant for off roading. But it's never gonna. I mean, the most off road is if it's not a paved road. Like when I'm going to the wineries and you see like a dirt road.
When you close your eyes and you envision someone who has a 4Runner, like a Rav4,
Yeah.
do you see Lewis there? Like,
No, probably not.
no. You see him in a Lexus, man. You see him like, yeah. I'll meet you. I could get there, but I
Yeah,
probably won't see you there. You know what I mean?
It'll last a while. I mean, it's a.
Well,
How much you drive though? You don't have to
plan
drive
is-
that much, right?
Well,
Lately you have been.
With the exception of this last trip, I just took a trip to Fresno where it performed amazing. The adaptive cruise control is, amazing. So you just press like a button and you have it set to 70 miles per hour, and even with the traffic, it'll adjust.
It doesn't self-check?
No, it's not technically self-drive. I had to sign like 8 documents to say it does not self-drive, but it does like brake and stuff. It has traffic jam assist.
Okay.
So
there's this guy on TikTok. He reviews cars.
I think I've seen it. Does he do Toyotas?
He does everything.
TRD John or something?
No, I don't know what his name is. He's pretty famous. He has like 1 million followers
He likes
or something.
he likes this kind of stuff.
But he's been doing a lot of Chinese cars lately.
Oh, dude.
Oh, like BY something
Dude,
or whatever.
We are
that is.
so cooked. Our car game is so behind.
Well, we don't allow their cars here,
Yeah,
right?
because they would beat us. That's the whole reason.
Well, you know why though, right?
Because
The government China backs those companies.
Yeah.
So imagine you have a company like, let's say, because we've been talking Jeep, CDJR, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Imagine you have the U.S. government, which it doesn't matter how much trillions of dollars of debt they're in, but they say, we're backing this company. This is our American company, right? They just pick
GMC,
that.
baby.
Right. They pick them.
Yeah.
They put all types of money, investment, everything. You don't think that we would blow China out of the water?
What?
You really don't think that?
Well, no, hold on.
I mean, I think we're like going to like I said,
So the U.S. does technically do that with like GMC.
They subsidize.
Chrysler.
That's different.
You're right. I mean,
It's very
It's
different.
not fully. Yeah,
It's very
you're
different.
correct. That's why.
And the China government, they're basically partners, right?
But we
they're
see
like
it,
shareholders.
we argue it as against national security. Because as a capitalist, you would say, well, that's against free market and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
But
China does different stuff than
they
that.
say for national security, we won't allow anything. Like specifically, Huawei makes your cell phones. It's like the
TikTok's
Apple.
trying to get banned. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
so like they don't want any of their technology here because then it just allows them to then manufacture and then they have people here. They hire someone, they could hire an agent, they could put them there and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But in Mexico,
Yeah.
they allow all those cars and everything like that, and those cars
are better.
I've seen them online.
It's significantly better.
They're selling
And the
them,
bang for buck, it's
they're selling it for
absurd.
pennies on the dollar.
All the
You know what
features
I mean?
that I have, which out the door, I hate to fucking put a dollar amount, but out the door is like $92K. Like with taxes, title fee, everything for a brand new, fully loaded Overtrail Plus Black, right?
And they're selling their version for like $30K.
All the features
Yeah.
that I had and wanted and stuff, it's absurd. And I did review that, and
It's
I was
like-
like, so you can feasibly get all those features and stuff, those cool bells and whistles, for a much lower price, but we just don't do that here. It's a very different...
You know what's
They'll
okay?
also, it's like Japan. Like, why did we lose steals? Because Japan came in and sold it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
If they come in and they sell cars for penny on the dollar, our auto industry will crumble. We'll fail. We can't compete with pennies on the dollar.
I mean,
So like,
eventually,
it is
that's
a
like
national
that's
security
you
risk,
can't
It's like-
stop that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Long term,
You can't
the,
stop what?
the cream will rise to the top.
Are you suggesting you can't stop China selling their stuff here?
I mean,
Because
I think you could
that's
block it.
regulation, yeah,
No,
you
no.
can stop that.
But at some point, maybe not right now, maybe in like 20, 30 years, if their cars are 5 times better than our cars, we won't have a choice but to use those cars because they're just that much better. Just like at
Well,
certain point,
yeah, well-
like China does use Google.
Then why don't
They
we
have
do-
their own application.
Why don't we do that
don't.
today? Because the argument could be made that right now the pricing, if you're considering the world economy, right? Because the world economy does trade because it's cheaper to do the same vehicle or the same type of goods or service in country X versus country Y. That's why we trade, right?
Okay.
So your argument is if they're doing 5 times better, the argument could be made
It's
that
not-
those cars are value to money 5 times better than our cars, then that would happen today.
No,
So I don't know if I agree with
They're not 5
that.
times better yet. They're maybe like
They're pretty
Okay.
Like, I
prices-
mean, I've like my
How would you-
Ada's dad has bought two.
BY.
Yeah.
He bought one of them and then he bought the electric one. They're two different companies.
Mm-hmm.
Both cars are pretty nice. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
given, they're like you don't feel like you're in a Mercedes Benz. Like
Yeah.
you don't feel like wow.
It doesn't
this
feel
is-
luxury.
Like
What do you think?
It feels like a high level of like. It feels like a high version of the Toyota. You know what I mean? So it's like you feel luxurious.
Dude, there's
in that,
lidars.
but
it's
yeah,
like it's
no,
like some
right.
Wait, what?
crazy
No,
automation.
The
in
technology is cool. But I'm just
LiDAR?
saying about
Yeah.
like
Like a truth.
a lidar is what is
Like the
is AI
sensors
built
on
into
the-
the car that allows you to drive.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
well, that's
it's,
what
it's
senses
a
at the
360,
sides.
like it's outside, and all these Waymo cars. I don't know if you've
Mm-hmm.
seen it, but Waymo has launched their like cars,
Self-driving.
self-driving cars.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like all those self-driving cars have a lidar into it. That's what allows
Is that like a
it.
360 camera?
It's not just a
What
camera.
it's using is like
With
lasers.
sensors.
It's
Yeah.
using
With sensors.
it's using lasers to know how far traffic is.
Like sonar, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the new car, like mine has that where if anyone's within a certain distance to it, like here to here, it goes.
Yeah, so
and so on.
So
yeah.
that's just like in that case, it
Yeah.
just has a laser that goes out and it makes that noise.
Right.
Well, with lidar is like it has that and GPUs built into it, so it can think and process too. So instead
to
of just
instantly
like
brake, to instantly.
You know,
park
like when
the
the
car,
Park,
you
yeah,
park
yeah.
the car, right? Like
Well, there's self-parking cars here.
those have lidars.
Okay. okay.
Have you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
been in the Tesla and it kind of like outlines the things around you? Like there's like a person walking and then you see the cars. Like it shows you like the things around you kind of thing. It gives
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that-
yeah.
That's the lidar. It's
Yeah.
like it's just putting a bunch of dots and making everything 3D so it
Yeah.
understands like.
Yeah.
It's like it's a sensor on steroids.
I'll say
You know what I mean?
360
It's like
camera
it's,
is fucking amazing. I
Yeah.
really enjoy
it's-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is built into those models. Again, it's like it's not a Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
You know, but for $30,000
it's-
for a car that's equivalent here for $60K,
Well, that's what I was just gonna say.
it's like
If
you know,
if that car, let's say, is categorized 30, let's say 35,000. If you compared that car, $35,000 car, to a US $35,000 car, I think it's 10 times better, probably.
No,
You don't think so?
well,
Find a $35,000 car online.
Let's just take
and-
like
and
the
what would that be,
Mustang
like?
Mach, for example,
well,
right?
The Mach-E?
The Mach-E.
That's
right?
not 35,000. There's no
it's
way.
like it's like 30 it's like 32,000 maybe 32.
Is there a new $35,000 car anymore? I don't think there is.
Dude, that's a
a
35.
Toyota. But like I mean,
No.
well, even a Tesla.
You can buy a Tesla for
No.
30,000.
Maybe
Yeah.
used.
No,
No,
you can buy a brand new Tesla for like
that's a
30.
new model.
Yeah.
But the thing is like not every car's made the same, right? That's why
Maybe a
Toyota
Nissan
is
Versa.
like
Nissan Versa. That is not going to have nearly the bells and whistles that your...
No.
Is it called BYT? What's the...
B and Y.
BYD.
BYD.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not
there's two.
nearly... I don't think.
I'll send you this guy. The
A
Okay.
Mach-E is not going to be... Let me see.
30K.
That's used.
Oh, yeah.
24,000 miles. No, I mean, I'm sure you can find a
dude,
used car for that.
I mean, it's just six. You can find one for 35 easily.
But brand new,
a Versa.
brand new car, 37.
Okay, 37.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. see?
So
That-
37
that's
for the base
surprising.
model.
That's surprising.
So,
But that base model, compare that base model to the,
but
the
it's
35,000.
not 10 times better.
How much times?
Probably like
You
less-
can be conservative, but be
less than two.
honest.
Like
No.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's probably less than 2.
You think?
It's
Well, see, this is the thing. It's like,
What do you think?
So the biggest issue, and even in Mexico, what he's saying is
Mm-hmm.
like, because it's still a new car, to get it repaired and get it fixed is incredibly difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But if
Yeah. anybody
anybody has the ability to kind of mass produce these kinds of things,
Yeah.
it's China, right? It's kind of like
That's the issue.
they'll be able to get you the whole part. He's like, if you need a part, it
Yeah.
takes you 2 months to get because it's shipping straight. From
I mean,
China.
we're like as sad as it sounds, we're losing significantly on
But-
like so many areas.
well,
Are you familiar with the Ineos Grenadier? You know what that car is? That was the other one I was looking at. It's like a tank, old like Land Rover type. You'll have to check it out. It looks exactly like the super old Land Rover Defenders, like almost like a mix between a Hummer and a Land Rover.
Ineos like that.
Ineos, Ineos. Yeah, Grenadier.
Oh, we've seen
See
this.
those?
Oh, that's pretty
So that was the other car I was
It's like a
thinking
Jeep
about.
Commander,
but
dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of. But that was the other one I was considering. But what they're really having is the same issue that Oscar brought up with BYD. It's a newer vehicle that people are a little bit unfamiliar with. They're afraid of the parts. The majority of the parts under the hood is BMW. BMW does the drivetrain, the engine, so many things, and they're trying to push that out. But still, people there's such a hesitancy because it's not a Toyota, Nissan, all these other name brands that you're familiar with.
I mean, I drove a Tesla, like the SUV.
The Y?
Tesla.
Or the X?
Dude.
Well, the X has the doors that's like this. The Y is like a normie.
It's a normal door, but it was
That's
like
a Y. That's not as fun as the X.
But it was a plaid.
I know, but you made it sound so fun, and then it's the fucking...
No, it had
it opens like
not
regular.
as fun,
Yeah. The X is like...
I guess the doors are cool, whatever. I don't really fancy them if you want to die. But why don't you get one of those doors in your car?
Lamborghinis.
Why would you want that?
Exactly. That's why I didn't want it. I had an option.
No, but if you're gonna get it, I wouldn't. Let's just put this out there. I'll never buy a Tesla. That's just.
Why?
I fucking hate them.
Are you one of those like Elon hater?
No.
Are you
It has
Elon
nothing
hater?
to do with that. Have you ever been in one for an Uber?
No, I drove one.
Oh my god, it's like
No, okay. The person doesn't know how to drive. So
I wish on Uber you could put no electric.
So
Because it's
you
like
can't.
those people with a torque. It just they don't know how to manage it.
No. So there is a see. This is what I'm talking about. That guy might not know.
Look,
But
and it's not just that guy. Look at the internet and type in people that hate electric cars on
Listen
Uber.
to me, listen to me.
It's not just one guy.
No, you're not-
If it was a one-off,
No. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. So when I got into that Tesla,
I stopped doing Ubers.
Listen, when I got into that
Just
Tesla,
because of that, yeah.
Seriously.
when I got into that Tesla, like I was having the issue because it just brakes really fast. There's no oil going into the brakes and braking. It's electric, right? So it slams. But there's a mode on the Tesla. All Teslas have it that you can basically make it like it rolls to the brake.
Oh, so it performs more like a gas car.
Right, not like a gas car, but like the brake is like slower, so it's not as instant brake. So what's happening is when they're braking, it's instant, right? And that's what just creating the jerkiness.
Yeah.
So that was happening to me.
And then they also accelerate like that.
That's
So
what was
it's
happening. But then
yeah.
you can change the settings on the driver profile to basically make it more like a regular car that you would drive. Because I was having a hard time driving. I was like, dude, I press it, it just like fucking goes, and it goes like.
Oh,
It goes
it's like
fast.
It's like nothing else. Yeah.
Because I was lined up with like a fucking
I don't like
a
them.
Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
And the Ferrari had no chance.
Yeah.
Like you.
But as far as a pleasurability in driving one or the other, the Ferrari's going to be a million times more fun to drive than a Tesla. Like
I've never driven a Ferrari, I don't know.
I'd be more impressed if you did, but yeah. Or
I'm
at
not
least,
into a car,
or at least
so-
the Model X with the fucking cool doors. But
Well, I'll buy
neither here nor
a
there.
Tesla, dude.
Just a cool $700,000 difference.
I mean, if I
not the Ferrari Californias, aren't those cheaper?
I think that's the $800,000.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, you got to get a Lambo, dude. If you're gonna get one,
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
the Huracan.
You can't just buy a Ferrari either.
No.
You have to go through like a whole process.
Well, you could buy a
and
used one.
Apparently,
Yeah,
right?
but new, you're right. I think it's kind of like the Rolex kind of model where like you can go into a Rolex store and it's pretty much a museum where you can go in and look at all the watches, but they won't sell you anything. And you get on a list to have the pleasure to be able to buy something.
I think
when it's in
those are
inventory.
only like the high end Rolexes.
Porsches like that.
Those are only the
Ferraris
high end.
like that, and so is Rolex.
Those are the high end ones.
They sell
No,
like a
even
book
if you wanted a regular fucking GMT or a Datejust or anything like that, if you wanted a new one like this year, 25, you have to get on a list. It's a marketing thing because they want to show this sort of elite thing. You can get it secondhand, and you can get it today. But I don't think you can get a new one. And maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've been told, no. Omega, a different story. You can get in if I can get the watch you want right away.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess yeah.
I'm not an elitist, but that's
I
just
know,
what
like
I've
for
heard
like a
of this.
Birkin bag, right? It works like that too. Like you have
Probably.
to spend so much money into
Those
the
are an
Birkin
absurd
store.
amount of money, right?
Like 20, 30.
like
There's some that goes for
15.
100.
Is Sadie getting one of those for Christmas?
Birkin bag? No.
She wants one?
So, someone just
No,
bought
I
a
don't want a
bag
bag,
in
no.
like a museum for like $10 million or something like that. It was like the original I think one of those bags, the original one.
What's the big deal on those? They're handmade or something?
No, this
I don't
retain
know,
value,
man.
dude. It's just like some guy says.
Is it
this
a French thing? What is it?
No, it's just like some. It's like
what-
art,
I think
right?
it's-
Like,
What's the country of origin?
I think Italian.
I think it's Italian, yeah.
Those Italians just have like a.
But
certain-
even then, it's like that could be like you could say something is made in Italy and like 70% of it is made somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I get these guys.
I'm just hungry.
I get
Birkin?
these.
Is it BIR?
I get these people hitting me up on WhatsApp, right? And they work with like
Hermes.
or Maze, yeah.
Yeah,
They work
so
with
it's French.
all these companies that make the products in China. So basically, all these bags are all made in like Rolex, right? Like all everything is made in China. But what happens is like you do the final 10% of the assembly.
The assembly here.
In the no, not even all of it. The final 10%.
Yeah.
In the country of where it's going to be, and you can put the tag saying "made in here."
Well, that's like Apple, right? Because like there's this whole big push for us to do more manufacturing in the U.S. and they're making like I think probably 90% of the phone in India now. but they're gonna do like the last bit here, or there's a lot of major components in here made here, and then the majority of the putting together is in India. There's something like that going on too with that.
Yeah,
with,
I mean, honestly, Apple's got to come up with the like.
Yeah, how like they're building in India, or
I've heard they've got huge plants in India where the majority of the phone's supposed to be.
Yeah, they're saying starting 2027, all phones are going to be made in India.
Foxconn.
Where right now is it China?
Yeah,
like it's just split between China, Brazil, and India. I think are the three main hubs.
Foxconn is the one who handles all that. Like
Foxconn?
That's the name of the company.
Any relation to the Fox News or no?
No.
Fox News.
They're on the Fox News because like they had like a bunch of. They're the company that had to set up like nets in between the buildings.
So people were dying. People were jumping and falling off the building, dude. Yeah. The workers were getting harassed too much.
Killing themselves.
Yikes! Suicide's not a joking subject.
So any travel anytime soon, dude? Are you going anywhere?
Yep, Fiji. Fiji's the next one. We try to do like one big trip a year around our anniversary time. So this year will be Fiji.
November then?
November's Fiji. We're pumped.
How long?
We like to go around Thanksgiving weekend, which I know is kind of like messed up for like getting together with family, but you get 2 days off for work already, so you just do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then that following week, maybe take off that Monday to reacclimate, and you get like a weekend change.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing.
That's pretty fun, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm not excited for the flight. Flight's supposed to be super long, but we did a flight to Maldives, which is like way longer, so I guess in comparison, it's not.
What did you do for that flight? Did you just like drink a bottle of wine and sleep?
So for the Maldives, I killed a bottle of Woodford. I'm a big bourbon.
A bottle of Woodford?
So they never saw that. And I was just bored because I can't sleep on flights, even in business class seats.
I fucking fall asleep a second I hit the fucking plane.
I was ordering double old fashioned after double old fashioned, and in the Emirates place, they have a bar in the back.
Yeah.
So you go back and you just like chat with other people who can't sleep. And I would order it from my seat, go to the bar, order another one, and I would just combine them. But eventually I was the only one drinking them, and I finished the bottle. So they let me take a picture with it. They had like a Polaroid.
That's a lot of alcohol in 24 hours.
It was a lot, and you're not supposed to drink a lot on planes.
Like
I heard
a whole bottle for sure.
You should be drinking water. Water is what you should be drinking. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend
it. Get dehydrated real fast.
But I mean, you're bored watching a lot of movies. My wife kept looking over at me and like, "You're still not sleeping?" And I'd be like on my 8th or 9th, double old fashioned.
Just super hammered.
Yeah,
37.
I didn't feel that drunk, which was weird. And you should feel drunker. I would think elevated.
I don't think you're affected by the elevation because it's pressurized.
No?
Inside the plane.
I was eating snacks too.
You're not going to get lightheaded on a plane. That would be horrible. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you do have like that's why people wear the tight socks and everything like that. It is not healthy to be flying so much, It's like because your body does have to go through.
And you should be drinking water. You shouldn't be drinking.
They say you have to hydrate more. When
so I'm not going to do that again. But that was for our honeymoon, so I was just kind of like the rules were out the door. I was just going to have a good time.
Yeah. Nice, dude.
How long is the flight? 14 hours?
There you go. That crocodile one is 350,000.
Yeah,
straight.
14 to what's the place that I didn't really like this place, like the stopping place, Dubai. It's like 14 to Dubai, and then from Dubai to Mall, it's like another 4, and then an hour or so boat ride. So that's an endeavor. We're gonna do that next year because we want to go back every 4 years to the Maldives. And we got to see like the Olympics or something at the same time, or maybe it was the World Cup, soccer.
It was the World Cup.
Oh yeah.
So we want to see that again because they put up like a big like projector and stuff. We were smoking hookah.
Well, that's not going to be
the safe way.
That's going to be in the summer, not the winter. Next time, yeah.
Are you sure? I thought it's every year.
I'm positive. We're buying tickets.
Well, you're gonna go?
We're going to the World Cup.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
The reason.
So what's the game I'm gonna?
It's in the U.S.
They did it that year because it was in the. They did it in the summer.
Oh, so we're not even gonna see it.
No.
Oh, maybe they'll put something else on the projector.
Well, whatever's on.
Don't tell my wife. She'll
football,
be disappointed.
The football, because the World Cup happens in summer.
Football,
that was the first
football,
time.
Like American football, or like football, like what everyone else thinks soccer is.
No. American football is the only thing that happens in November, December timeframe.
Okay.
And basketball.
I don't know if the Maldives gives a crap about America with that stuff. We probably won't see it.
Yeah, you probably won't see it.
Were there a lot of Americans at your hotel when you went?
No, there was a lot of Australian, a lot of British, some French people.
Some rugby then.
A ton.
Nah.
Yeah, for sure. There's people that like rugby. We were definitely an anomaly. There weren't, I don't think, any other Americans.
It's a far trip.
It's very far. Yeah, we were
18 hours to get over there? No way, man.
Yeah.
Dude. I did a solo flight from LAX to I did. It was only 12 hours.
Yeah.
But then I went to India. It was 16 hours.
Yeah, that's a trip.
16 hours direct. I was like, fuck. I didn't piss the whole flight, and I'd piss so bad.
Dude, that's so not good for you. Why didn't you...
I just fell asleep, and I didn't wake up, and I was about to land when I woke up.
You fell asleep for 16
straight.
hours?
I passed out on the plane like straight out cold.
I don't believe
Do you
you.
take like
No,
16 hours?
Nothing. I don't
That's
eat
twice
food.
what a recommended sleep serving is.
I straight
8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours is the norm.
I straight up passed the fuck out.
8 hours, you should feel like a king.
and this guy,
16?
16 hours.
That's actually unhealthy, I think.
Well, and I'm on a plane, dude.
Do you
I'll
take like
cold
a
this.
sleep
Nope.
medicine or anything
Just,
like that?
dude, the minute the plane takes off, I am out.
NyQuil?
And in a minute
Nope.
it lands,
NyQuil?
you wake up?
No, I'll wake up when the plane starts to descend. Like, I'll know when the plane's starting to descend. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
I wish I had that power. I can't,
Yeah,
I can't,
yeah.
I can't
even
do
in
that.
Vegas, like I go to Vegas like fucking 45-minute flight. I'm out. 45 minutes. Like
It takes like no time. It takes longer to get on and off the
Dude,
plane.
and this is the guy who says, I don't think the elevation affects you. He's like, it
Oh,
literally knocks
boy.
him out as he
Like,
gets 100 feet in
baby.
the air. It's
fucking
like,
out, dude.
I can't do
you don't
that.
have
I-
brain to the head, yeah.
I don't do it. I mean, I try. I even like with Boston, right? We're traveling, and then like I physically can't stay up, and then he'll be like, "Dad, get the fuck up," or like he'll like not get the fuck up, but he'll be like,
Yeah.
"Dad."
He
He'll,
doesn't
like,
curse. He's
he'll
too young for that right
obviously,
now.
dude,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
like, "Dad, get up," or he'll throw something at me, or like. But
Does he
I'm
sleep easy?
trying. I'm trying to like fucking stay up.
Is he sleeping on planes and stuff? No?
Well, when we came back from Hawaii, we did a red eye,
Yeah.
and that was perfect.
So he slept.
He slept the whole time.
That's good, that's good.
But then when we went to Hawaii, he's too excited, dude. He's
Yeah.
jacked. He's like, oh, because he knows now. Whenever we go on a plane, he's like, oh, like
Fuck. Something fun.
Mickey
Something fun,
Mouse
yeah,
and all that
yeah,
jazz.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Disney Hawaii and everything.
Didn't you guys fly to San Francisco?
yeah. And we
How was
went
that? Because that was
It's like
short.
45 minutes. It's fine.
Was he excited though? He like
Oh yeah,
seen
he
the
loves
grandparents?
planes. Yeah. But like we went to Salt Lake,
Yeah.
and he was like stoked. He was like, oh, on a plane, like it's like I'm fucking ready.
That's Utah, right?
Yeah.
But he's not
City,
sleeping,
Park
man.
City.
He's
Yeah.
too excited
Do you see
to
a lot of
sleep.
Mormons? A lot of Mormon people?
I mean, I didn't ask, but I assumed there were a ton of Mormons there.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to drink a bunch of Woodford there.
Dude, yeah. Did you know? Have you ever
What?
been?
Seemed like a fun
Have you
place.
ever-
Wait, why?
So you've never been to Salt Lake?
Apartments, man.
So my last company was out of Salt Lake. I
Give
do
us
ton
some
of-
background on this. What,
I
why,
do-
why is bourbon outlawed? What's going on?
It's not bourbon.
Okay.
So
Oh, alcohol.
it's all alcohol, right?
Really?
So
What a
before,
terrible
so
place to
alcohol
be.
used to just be taboo in Salt Lake or Utah for a long time.
They drink pop.
So
a lot of
before-
soda, right?
Pop, yeah. So
Yeah.
before the 2002 Winter Olympics, all alcohol beer had to be less than 3%.
3?
So Budweiser and all
Is
these
that like an
companies-
O'Doul's basically? Like
No,
the non-alcoholic?
They had to make a special beer just for Utah.
Wow.
And
3%.
and nowadays, so
you ever
they
try 3%?
they raised it to. It looks like the same can. So like, you would like take a Pacifico can. It looks identical.
So what do? Pour out like 80% and
They don't drink.
add water on the rest?
They
No,
don't
I'm just like trying to get wrap my mind around how do they do 3%?
the beer is built for the place at 3%.
I'd almost say like.
So you know,
So
like,
is it through dilution? Is what I'm asking. Do you think?
Like, how do they?
What's your
Yeah,
educated
no.
guess on what they do to? They just give you more water than beer, right?
Well, I mean,
Because beer's what 90% water.
I think it's time of fermentation.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like how
well,
long do you
that's
ferment
it.
the beer for? Is like depends on how strong the alcohol is.
I'm not sure if it's kind of like when you like whiskey or like hard alcohol, where it has like the head, the body, and the tail. And the tail is like the head is like methanol, the body is like what we drink, and then the tail is just like almost no alcohol, and then they mix it together to make it.
You know way more than me about this stuff.
So maybe it's just like the bottom of the barrel kind of thing, where there's not that much.
Not that much alcohol.
But what was crazy is like, so you can only order one drink at a time on a bar. So you can't,
Well, how many drinks do you order today at a bar? I mean, you would do one at a time as well, no?
dude, you can't get a beer and a shot.
I'm
You
so
just
confused.
told us a story about how I ordered a drink from my seat, and by the time I got
No,
there,
no,
I
but like
ordered another
if you're
one.
at that's an anomaly. That's not the norm. That's a exception. I'm saying if you go to a
you-
restaurant and or a bar and you get a drink, do you say I want 3 drinks for
Or
myself?
what if you order
Like-
one for your wife? I guess
You can
order
do
one?
you can do that. What I'm saying is
Oh,
like,
yeah,
no. What I'm saying is you go get a 4% beer, right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just assume you go and get a 4% beer.
Are
You're
you a
like,
guy that gets a shot in a beer? When did you move to Texas? Come on,
No,
you're not a Texas.
They did
you
that
get a
though.
shot
Like,
of beer.
no, people did that. You get a shot because like
It's
it's
not
not.
a shot of beer.
So you can't get a
What
shot
would
of
your
beer.
shot be, J-Mo?
Huh?
You
Well,
get
I
a
guess
shot of
it-
I took a
J-Mo?
couple of JMOs.
Yeah,
shots.
and a PBR.
But like,
In
what they
Utah,
don't even
though.
do is like they're let's say like old fashioned, right?
yeah.
It would be like 1 ounce of alcohol.
They do that in London.
So you can't do 2 ounces, it's 1 ounce.
Their
So-
drinks are also.
So I had
kinda
like
less.
6 or 7 old fashioned. I'm like, dude, I should be trashed right now.
they're,
Right?
they're babies.
It's so tiny.
Because it's Park City.
It's Utah.
Utah,
It's
Utah.
Utah in general. So
Yeah.
like the laws are different. It's Mormons, dude. It's just like,
You know what? Have you ever seen that Mormon show, the Secret
House-
Lives or whatever?
Mormon, hell yeah.
Apparently, something that they do actually condone is
Swinging?
No, that. But ketamine. Have you heard of ketamine? You know what that is?
Have I heard of ketamine? I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never done it.
No,
Trust
but
me,
no. They have like a service or like they call it a wellness thing, and they take it. And I don't know how they administer it or whatever.
Yeah, I heard.
No, but I'm saying
First time.
that they think that like caffeine and all this stuff is evil, but they condone that. I just thought that was pretty wild.
That is kind of weird, huh?
You know what I mean?
So
like,
they don't
that
drink-
to me. I thought that's like isn't that
So
a
they
hard
don't drink
drug?
coffee?
Well, it's not taking like Elon Musk got it prescribed. Like he was taking ketamine. That was kind of what we were saying. Like
To me, that's in the category of like
Hard drugs.
that's a hard drug.
People take it recreationally, but it's not. It's not
What?
illegal. Actually,
I guess you
know
can
what
do anything recreationally, but that just doesn't seem like. I don't know a lot of people that do that recreationally. I don't know anybody that does it recreationally.
It's kind of become popular, like what you said. Like I've been hearing about, like kind of almost like an Adderall kind of thing.
Like a well, I don't know Adderall being a wellness thing, but yeah.
But
I see what
but
you're
I
saying,
like
yeah.
something for like focus or kind of just like help with that. I mean, that's what.
What's is it an upper or downer or what is that?
I don't know. I've never taken it.
hallucination?
I mean,
Like, a lot of people like they get like they become
I don't know.
like a K-hole. I guess you know it's like when you just kind of don't feel like you can do anything kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they
That
don't.
sounds
Again,
miserable.
they don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't take caffeine. They donate 10% of
did
their
you-
earnings to the church.
Wait, did you watch the show? Because
And
you
they're-
watch Bravo
I-
sometimes.
Oh, I watched the show. Yeah.
Did you hear how they do the enemas, the caffeine enemas? So they can't drink coffee, but they'll do an enema of caffeine.
Is that like
What
in the butt?
in the
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
what show are you guys watching?
The Secret Wives of
Secret
Mormon.
Wives of Mormon Wives. Definitely
Secret
guil-
Life of Mormon Wives.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely guilty pleasure. Bravo with my wife.
Just drink
But
the
it's-
fucking
it's,
thing. We watch a lot of Bravo shit.
it's wild,
like,
yeah.
Fuck. That
Below
show's
Deck.
hilarious.
Below Deck's good
I
stuff.
used to watch it a lot,
I like Below Deck.
and I stopped watching it
You don't
because
like
like
Below
all the
Deck?
characters they took out.
The
Who?
ones that you liked.
No, I watched it like 5 years ago, like a lot
Watch
more.
what? Bravo or Below Deck?
Below Deck. Now I guess we watch more of like
What do you watch?
the Valley or some shit.
I don't watch that.
Yeah,
No, that
and
didn't
then,
catch me. How about
like Southern Charm.
I
or,
like Southern Charm.
And then
I do like
like,
Southern Charm.
Like the one in New Hampshire. What is that? The one in New York where they go on like. The fuck is that called?
Where
with
they go to
Kyle?
the Hamptons and
Hampton,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that shit.
Summer House.
Summer House, I
And
watched
Winter
it.
House. Those are pretty
I watched that.
entertaining. Some of those guilty pleasure shows, it's necessary to just kind of, I don't know,
Well,
wind
yeah,
down.
a ton
with.
of TV, like
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Also, I feel like when you get old, post-college life and stuff, I don't know, you're less excited to go out on a weekday. Like, you remember I'd go to 2nd Street alone? Like,
Okay, that's I never did that.
I did.
Oh, we never. Did you? do
Yeah.
that?
No, remember
I think
it was
I've done
towards
like once or twice.
it was towards the end of us living together. But I would just go like it'd be a Thursday. I'm like I'm gonna go have a drink and get a good time.
We did.
I was
used
like
to go, like, every
22.
Thursday to Simpsons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah,
stuff
but,
like,
like,
that's fun. But like today, do I
We
do
drink
that? No.
every day. That's not that. We drink every day.
There was
Stop.
time-
Except
There was
that.
no,
No.
excuse. But here's the thing, right?
On Sundays we would drink.
There was Margarita Monday. There was Taco Tuesday, so you have some beers with the tacos. Wine Wednesday. Thirsty Thursday.
And then
Fridays, obviously, you're going to party, and Saturday, you're going to party.
And then Sunday we're drinking.
And Sunday-
drink football, watching.
Yeah,
drinking,
yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
doing homework.
You gotta
have some
get the
brunch.
hangover.
Yeah. So there was an excuse almost
Degenerates,
every
dude.
single day.
Degenerates.
The livers were not very happy. But
That's
you heal
fine.
more. Up until like the age of 25, your cells are generating more quickly than you are losing them. Once you hit 25, it's not happening that way. So that's also why the hangovers and stuff are more brutal.
We're 30
You just-
now.
So I guess
we're not in the 25.
well,
so
one of the things I guess we talk about
Yeah.
here a lot on
Ooh, my bad.
on the podcast is like AI, right? So we
I think I've seen a few clips like that.
and we want to hear your opinion on
I don't have an opinion on it.
where do you think what's going to happen?
Absolutely nothing.
Well,
I
what's
just
your
think that
stance on AI?
It's such a. I get frustrated with the topic, so I don't really talk a lot about it. But I just feel like there's such a buzz with that every company and their brother is somehow trying to put themselves like, oh, now we also have this AI feature, so now you must work with us because we're such a future, visionary type of company, and now the game has changed. AI. It's almost like, and you're probably gonna slap me with this one. It's almost like the Bitcoin thing for a while, where they're like, "Oh my God, have you heard of cryptocurrency?" And about so, like, don't get me wrong. I think we're still kind of in that early adopter area, and I do see that there's some merit in some applications of it. But there's also been, on the other side of that coin, research on it dulling your mind. So if you're a frequent user of like ChatGPT and you use that to think for you or use that as a crutch always, it's kind of the same concept as do you remember when you used to remember a lot of phone numbers? And
Never
you
did
wouldn't
that.
have to look at... Well, I remember when I used to... You probably do. When you would remember a lot of phone numbers. Now you have an address book, so you don't know anybody's number, right? It's kind of like that concept. You use ChatGPT so much that you don't have as deep of a critical thinking muscle flexed as much as you should. So do I think that there's some merit to it and there's some things that could make your life easier? For sure. Do I think that it's going to end everybody's job and stuff? Absolutely not. I think that there's definitely going to be more areas where they will use AI to maybe lessen the employee size of certain places. But in the industries where the human focus is such a primary need to go through with what you're doing, I'm not worried about it. Like, for instance, with what I do, I'm in sales, right? You're in sales, and you help people, on the tech side, right? And I don't mean to just sum up what you do, but that's kind of what I understand.
Yeah.
I think that in each of what we do, we're going to be okay. I think that if there comes a day where an AI robot is able to connect on a person-to-person level as good as me, I think I'm going to be long, in the grave by that point. I don't think that's anywhere near close to where I'm at. I feel very good with that.
Thoughts, Oscar?
It's a good answer, man. It was a long-winded answer. There's a lot going on there. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like there is it's overhyped right now to the fullest
For
degree,
sure.
right? And like you mentioned, like every company and their mother is like saying AI, Notion AI, Google AI. Everyone has AI.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's cool to an extent, but a piece of it is also kind of like, well, isn't this what you think technology was doing before, right? It's like, shouldn't have been kind of automating these processes, and now you're kind of
tool,
selling
yeah.
me as like a new thing, a new feature kind of thing.
Right.
But what I do see as kind of the cool bit or the cool piece is like what you're kind of saying is like once you kind of see through the fog and all these things, it's like what are the benefits or what are the things that you could actually use it for? And I think one of the things that it exposed, and same with cryptocurrency to an extent of what I guess what the new web should be.
Right.
Crypto is maybe. It's not what we're talking about, but it's definitely rubbing elbows and rhymes with it, right?
Yeah,
In the sense of like the way that the new internet is going to kind of be and be made is going to look a little bit different than what we're kind of used to and everything like that.
Yeah.
So for instance, like there's a lot of things in life that we imagine that technology is running in an efficient way or running in a way that we imagine like, yeah, that's what technology does. But it doesn't do that, you know? And it's like those automations or those pieces don't exist because no one has really kind of built those things out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of just repetitive tasks that right now are just kind of like, they're literally humans kind of doing those repetitive tasks in different silos.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you really, what I think is going to be the beauty of it is just really, it's going to expose those things and make it easier to see how can you group those things together.
Yeah.
Right? All these finite tasks and putting it in a bundle now. So you're right. I don't think it's going to be a disruptor of like ruining society or...
That's what I mean. I feel like there's a big pitch from a lot of companies and people that, if you're not involving AI in your business,
you're going to die.
You're going to be left in the dust.
I don't see that to be necessarily true, though. I do see it being a new tool, like the internet, right?
Yep.
It's like, so like you kind of have to be prepared to say, how can I use this tool to just put me in a better place, right?
Yeah.
It's like, think of like Blockbuster of like not getting in line with the internet and they failed because of it.
Yeah.
They could have pivoted, just
They
like
could've.
Netflix, and kind of gone to that level or things like that. They didn't necessarily have to go to the mail thing, but they could have done something online, and it could have changed the game. They could have been the first one there, right? So like there is a piece of like when new technology comes out, you do have to kind of be a bit accepting of it, but also be wary of it, right? It's like it is a shiny object right now.
Yeah.
So you really have to kind of mine and dig and see what is the real true value of this, and how can I use this to my benefit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, to me, like crypto, right? It's like the real beauty there is blockchain, not the cryptocurrencies and the coins, but the blockchain is really just saying like, how do I make sure that a transaction happens? It's like going to a notary.
A verified transaction.
It's like the idea of going to a notary. You go to a notary because they write down in their system that you and a witness signed
Verified
this.
you.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's like a digital notary almost, right? And it's like you could even use it for like insurance documents. When someone signs, it could verify that was actually the person signing without having to go through this step of...
Like DocuSign?
Well, DocuSign, you can know who signed it.
Correct. So
I can get on your email and sign the document, and it's basically...
Well,
So
IP address is recorded.
I can just get on your computer.
Yeah.
Like I can just go on your office, get on your computer, and just sign it.
Yeah.
This is the.
But it's a legal document still.
That's not the point. The point is saying like, DocuSign cannot, to a degree, it can, but it cannot for sure verify that it is you that does it because there's no unique identifier outside of your email.
Sometimes there's a code.
But there's ways of manipulating all those things, right? And that's really the fear, right? There's a way of even manipulating. I can make it look like your IP address, and I signed a document saying it's Luis Briones, and it's coming for your IP address.
Yeah, you can
like
spoof
that,
an
right?
IP.
So how do we verify that it is in fact you? So that problem hasn't been solved yet, but that is a piece where blockchain, not the cryptocurrency, and
NFTs are like probably like where that comes into play.
That's what
NFTs. I feel like I've not been chat about it for a while. Huh?
No,
it's died, but like the technology behind what it is, it's a verifying technology.
Well, see, so it's like forget
it's a
about
digital
like the whole
verification,
digital idea, but it's like think of it just kind of like a way of just verifying something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's just like it's the way you think that computers work today, but they don't. Like an ACH transaction, why does it take my bank to approve that and it takes 3 days, right? Now they're even using blockchain technology,
it's faster.
adopting it because it's
quickly to verify.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
I should be able to instantaneously see the account that I want to connect to is that, and the balance of this account is that.
Like a bank wire transfer?
Essentially, yeah. But it should be instantaneous, right? It shouldn't. It's like they're using it now with Zelle, things like that. But like the whole thing with Ripple, that exposed it even more. The fact that now
What's Ripple again?
Ripple was a cryptocurrency that their whole premise of what they were trying to sell is that idea of like, I want to be able to send something to Africa and not have it cost $100 just to send it, but it should be instantaneous. It shouldn't also cost me $10 to go to Western Union just to send $1.
Is that what all crypto is, or no?
Some sell it like that, but not necessarily.
Not really.
Because what it is, it's just it's a contract, it's a transaction. That's what a block really, it's solving transactions kind of thing. And it's in solving
it's a non-fungible transaction. So basically, like you can't go in and alter the ledger. So right now, if you really think about it, right, like the bank can go in and fucking alter whatever in your account, and you just kind of like they can do that, right? Like the bank can say, I'm changing some numbers in his account.
Some people are breaking into like someone else's like Coinbase and stuff.
That's different though. That's breaking into wallets. Yeah. I'm saying you can't go in and unverify a transaction that happened in the blockchain because it's on a ledger.
But you can break into a wallet and steal Bitcoins.
That's a wallet security. Not all wallets are the same.
Well, I mean, my premise, and I hope that you're understanding this at the very least, is that as much as we want everything to be super secure, there's always going to be someone that's going to come knocking and stuff, and ultimately it's got the value that we as people assign it, right? That's why it's come from so little to so much.
The piece that would be the fearful and thing of being robbed is like the cryptocurrency, which would be how they're using it right now. Is like what they're doing is for each transaction they have a computer solving the mathematics to encrypt it, that, and in doing so,
if you get a quantum computer, it can fucking do that instantly, right?
Instantaneously. It's designed to do thousands of these transactions in seconds, right?
Is that the people that mine? They use this quantum?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, and for each transaction that they help solve and encrypt, they get a crypto, a Bitcoin or whatever that case.
Certain decimal. Okay.
So, so you have to separate the two though. So the blockchain is the transaction and the encryption. So that data of the contract going through and making sure that was being sent from point A to point B.
And the coin is the receipt of it?
So right now, that was the proof of concept. So what they wanted to send was that cryptocurrency. And then so they get paid in that same cryptocurrency. So everything is very verticalized right now. But now think of it in a separate way where you separate the two. Where the transaction is a transaction like any other kind of transaction.
Transferring from you to you.
Correct.
Okay.
And in the person who's encrypting all of this information and keeping what he called the ledger, the ledger
has to be verified by X amount of people. So the whole concept comes from like, you don't trust me, I don't trust you, right? This is go with that concept. But if every single person in the world says a single thing is true, then more than likely that thing is true. Yeah. It's let's say everything. So in crypto,
you're literally bringing it back from bartering to when we decided to have.
So on a
currency.
crypto you right?
Yeah.
You have to have majority validation to make sure that ledger is correct.
Who's validating?
All these people that are mining. So they're validating each of those transactions.
And what credentials do the miners have?
No, there's validating to see if that transaction and that transaction is legit.
I know,
so it's all encryptions, right? And it's what it's doing is it's solving mathematical problems that really have nothing to do with the transaction itself, kind of thing. But it's carrying around. Well, it does because it's the hash of the transaction saying the receipt of that transaction.
This is your business too, right? I mean, you guys do this. Are you guys brokers of crypto, or what do you guys?
No, we do what's called staking, so more like infrastructure.
Staking.
So if you want to really get into it, so Bitcoin is it's proof of work. So that's where what he's like. The ledger is spread out to everybody. So anybody who mines Bitcoin, or when you first the first people to get into Bitcoin, you had to download the entire ledger onto your computer. Coinbase kind of does this for you now, so you don't have to do that anymore.
And you guys have miners? You guys have that?
So that's proof of work. That's where the miners come in. Then there's proof of stake, which is essentially saying, well, instead of having this ledger spread out between all these people, we're going to spread them through validators. Meaning that these are the people who we deem or pay to kind of be the host of these ones. And they're the ones doing the math.
They're the miners. Or they're not the miners.
Essentially, but yeah, it's more of a centralized group. It's not so decentralized, right?
Jesus. They make bank because they're doing all the mining, or no?
Well, they get paid a commission of the rewards. So now what they do to stabilize the coin is they'll essentially take a piece of it, and as those rewards, they'll pay it out. And if you invest, almost kind of like a CD, they'll give you back a return.
You get like a fraction of a cent for verifying a transaction. But if you verify millions of transactions,
you get a penny.
Then you get, now you're verifying trillions of transactions, trillions and trillions of transactions.
You get $1?
You're kind of being a jackass.
No, I'm just asking. I'm genuinely, I don't know.
$100 trillion.
Okay.
So then you have $100 billion to say. So I'm saying like that. The whole point is like
it's crazy people pay for this. I mean,
I feel like
people have value in it. Obviously.
Well, I mean, like it's the scary thing that I mean, I guess what you should like the normal people is that. The Black Rocks, the Fidelities,
they're all getting in on
State
it, right?
Street
That's why it's well over 100K right now, right?
Been in it.
Yeah.
Like
they buy, they store it.
Well, you have to remember that
it's just like about gold, right? Why do we keep gold?
There's no value. You got bitcoins.
There's no value. There's no value in like
in gold inherently.
No, there isn't. You cannot.
What can you make out of gold?
Well, I mean.
There's lots of stuff that you make in this and
but there's no
different electronics and stuff.
No, there isn't.
And silver, for sure,
silver, but gold really doesn't have that much value outside of just purpose that humans have created to create
the argument
value.
Though is that we no longer use gold as a standard.
It's not a gold standard.
Yeah, so it's like
the U.S. dollar is the standard.
Correct. So the number is arbitrary in the sense of how much output that we say.
Okay, I'm not trying to be an ass, but do you guys think that at some point it'll be the crypto coin or whatever is the standard?
I don't want it to be that way. But
here's the thing. If you have mass adoption of crypto from all governments, then what is not going to happen is you as a government cannot keep devaluing my money. So what happens is the government can go.
Like the inflation is what you're saying.
Right? So it is completely deflationary.
It's inflation proof.
It's inflation proof. So that's one of the big values.
Because we can't just make more.
Correct.
But you can mine more.
No, there's limit. There's
there's a finite limit right now.
There's 21 million Bitcoin in total.
And there will never be more.
There will never be more. But what happens is each time you mine more, each time a block is made,
who made this shit? What the?
We don't know. This guy named Satoshi, and no one knows who he is.
Satoshi?
But he took 10%.
Damn, this is like a mythical legend.
He took 10% and just disappeared.
He took 10% and disappeared.
He mined 10% and just disappeared.
His wallet, so you could see every wallet address, and you could see how much every wallet.
So there is a ledger somewhere where everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Everyone has access.
Think how safe that is.
Like the stock market, kind of.
No, even stock market is very corrupted, where you can there's insider tradings that happen and stuff like that, right? Here it's a ledger. Everyone can verify that ledger.
Right.
So you can't do shady things.
You just don't know the address. Like the wallet address is X0 and followed by 36 numbers. So there's no true way of identifying, that's Lewis.
Okay.
Right? But you could identify that wallet address with certain transactions. And that's how they catch drug dealers and things like that now using the ledger really.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to see.
I thought the whole premise was you couldn't get caught.
No, Bitcoin. That's just
But now no.
No. There are other private. There are other coins that are just private. So there are some coins that you cannot tell.
The ledger?
You cannot tell who the transaction is coming from. It's impossible to verify the transaction.
Over my head, dude.
Yeah, it's a very multi-layered thing. Yeah. Like technically, where there's a will, there's a way. Like you say, but
anyways, coming back to this AI business, right?
Oh boy,
we're all cooked. we are all fucking cooked.
Oscar, do you concur with this?
No. Listen to me. How much? I don't know how much you use ChatGPT.
Oscar doesn't concur.
Oscar will concur over time.
Go ahead.
I don't know how much you use ChatGPT.
Not very often.
Okay, Oscar.
I have used it, but not very often.
Book a fucking restaurant for tomorrow for us. And this is like, it only came out a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Just think about that, like, rationale. This technology only was around since like 2015, probably 2016.
Look for the best place. That's subjective, but okay.
Highest rated. Give it like a more clear prompt. Highest rated.
You're TikToking while we're on a...
Bro. The
man.
game never stops. Always
This
be
is
selling.
embarrassing.
Look for the highest rated.
Yeah.
Highest rated? Based on what, like Yelp?
I just want to see what it says.
Okay, let's see.
So now
So we're talking to the robot. Go on.
No, this is an agent mode.
this
So
is
an
agent. So
What's
far,
the difference between agent and what everyone
a
else
chatbot is just a
Yeah.
chatbot back and forth. An agent can do stuff for you. An agent can make a call.
So
An
this
agent,
is an agent?
He-
Did
this
you buy
agent-
this version? Is that why?
Well, it's just part of their subscription.
so listen. So it's gonna
What's
book
the subscription cost?
$20.
They have, is it 20 bucks?
$20. So now it's gonna go book a restaurant for us for tomorrow.
Opening Yelp. That's what I was thinking. So you and I were thinking the same. Go
Open
on.
table. It's gonna go to Open Table and book the actual place.
Yeah. But it's checking the options via Yelp, like for what's the best.
Whatever that is irrelevant.
Well, I like that it's telling us it's
What it's doing, right?
Yeah. I like that. That's neat.
But again, think about this. Think about all the jobs that can be obsolete with something like this.
All right.
So it's gonna go. Oh, there's a
Well,
gateway.
it's a bad gateway.
So link
You know.
within that is probably broken.
Sometimes the robots just don't get it. You know. I think we have job security. I mean, if you want my opinion, but
No, you do. I think till a certain point, right? Like, so you got to think from a buyer's perspective.
yeah.
So think of it. We get to a point where we're in ChatGPT 5. Let's say we get to ChatGPT 12.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a buyer trust you as a salesperson when it can just ask a AI what the best company to sign up for their needs are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can insert all the information that you have about your life, your needs, and everything, and it can basically do way more things than you're going to be able to do. It's going to know more.
I think there's some spaces where I see some validity in
no,
like,
but,
the premise.
but what you're saying,
But-
like, think about it. Like, think of it from like this.
Yeah.
We are going to shift from people wanting to be sold to you just go and buy what you need.
I
There's
don't
going
know if
to.
anyone wants to be sold. Do you want to be sold?
That's what I'm saying. People don't want to be sold. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. We're going to move away from being sold
Yeah.
to you and going and buying what you need.
Yeah. Oscar, what's your perspective on this? Because you were in sales for a little while too, and I feel like I'd be curious to hear kind of what your thoughts are on the concept of AI from a sales perspective replacing individuals.
We're already replacing SDRs, dude. We're already replacing our
maybe
SDRs.
some of the entry level.
Again,
Well, see, that's the thing.
It's
So, like,
only
the very repetitive tasks are going to be. I think this can do those things, and it's getting better, right? So it is something to keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Though, but I guess this is the thing that people have to be prepared for, or change their mentality of like, well, now you're right. You have to create an experience, right? It is that human interaction. People will seek that a bit more, because of all the AI. That being said,
but nobody wants to buy from a salesman.
No,
That's just a fucking fact.
No, it's like Apple. That's the thing I'm saying. So the salespeople are going to have to turn into the blueberries almost. Of like, you're not there to sell. You're there to create an experience and to make them feel fucking special for doing anything.
But I think,
maybe to be
it's
an
like-
advisor, right?
But even then, none of them will even matter, because you can just take your entire need, everything you are gonna want, and you can put that into a chat GPT per se, right? And then it will just tell you what the best outcome based on your needs are for you. You are not going to have to go...
So like where I push back in the example, I'll stick to Apple. Why do people go into the Apple store versus buying online?
They want to play with it. They want to touch it. They want to feel it.
They want to go talk to someone.
What do you think? Which phone do you have? Do you have the Plus? Do you have the,
People spend hours in the
You don't
Apple
have
store
Apple. You're a terrible example.
just talking to
You
people.
just said earlier MacBook sucks. You
They're-
said Apple sucks. You walked in there, you said Apple sucks.
Apple
What?
iPhones, they're
No,
legit.
they're not.
So I mean, take your whatever opinion
Your
you have about
Google
the product.
phone, trash.
Their retail store,
10 times better than yours.
Their retail store is a product in and itself, right? Outside of anything, they changed retail about the experience that it created and why people went went there. They didn't hire engineers. They didn't hire IT people because they understood that IT people are not the coolest to talk to. They're fucking IT people like me, I guess, But they hire artists, musicians, people who use the tools who say, if you come in, I'll teach you something cool that you'll never think about.
True.
And you'll feel cool even talking to me because I got hipster tattoos and cool glasses and everything like that. So people go there for the human experience and the experience because you could buy the exact same product and go through the exact same process and have it delivered to your door. Within 2 hours.
I like Oscar's perspective on this. I feel like it's a little bit more.
There is going to be.
And while we're talking, the robot is thinking Black Angus is the best. So, I mean, you heard it here, folks, from the robot.
Well, but think about this. What it just did was
reservation soon
because you guys did it the highest rated, man. I did the best. It understands me when it's saying. I know what Oscar likes, man. I know what the best.
But like you're thinking it just from like
yesterday. It did the Goat Vine, and that's like the best restaurant.
As we were chatting, it did bring up Goat Vine, but I think that maybe Black Angus was rated higher.
Maybe.
Oh, there might not be availability at 7 tomorrow's Friday.
That could be it too.
But like what I'm trying to say is like if it's only a few years into this, right? And it's already
very early, very early.
And it's already doing things that would otherwise not be possible.
You like it? Yeah, I could tell.
No, I
You're very much an early adopter.
But like, think of it like this, right? Like, me and Oscar, we're building out applications. We don't know how to code.
Yep. That's why I asked. Are you using like a template for the website or whatever?
No.
I feel like you kept dodging the question.
We're using AI to build it. You're using Base 44.
It's called Base 44.
Yeah, that's all I asked.
So it builds the entire back end, it builds the entire front end, and it builds the entire
and you just
application.
Put where you want things to look.
No, you have to prompt it. It's actually a lot more technical than like.
Well, it's the thing that I compare it to. It's like imagine writing instructions.
Yeah.
Right. It's like to be very exact on instructions is kind of complicated.
Yeah.
There's a video on TikTok of like a kid writing instructions for the dad, or like how to make a PB&J sandwich.
Oh, you literally, I think I've seen that. But it's like you can't just take out the bread. It's like open the bag.
All right, so now we can just take over,
like everything,
and just book the restaurant, right? So if we just take over, we can book it. He doesn't have his.
I found the Golden Vine. It's ranked number 1.
He doesn't have like.
See, so it did look for the Golden Vine, yeah.
But there's no reservations?
Well, he doesn't have that hooked up yet to his...
Oh, you know what? You gave it a difficult task. Because think about this. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
Friday,
but I can
Saturday.
book a flight for you.
Yeah.
So, hey, book me a best flight from here to San Francisco
So
tomorrow.
that I could be interested in. Because I've used Google Flights and stuff, and I've heard, I don't know for sure,
this
will find a better way to do it.
But you're thinking on such a, like, singular level of, like, okay, like, this is what it can do.
Yeah.
From a coding perspective, it can... Companies like Salesforce, companies like Microsoft, IBM, are no longer hiring junior coders. And that's only on the 5th model. Yeah. Imagine we get to the 15th model.
Yeah.
Right? Think about this. Like,
maybe senior coders.
Doctors.
Replaced.
Right?
Well, I don't know.
No.
A doctor. Go on.
Okay. Think right now. Right now we might not have it. But in the next 15 years, 10 years, they're going to have doctors that do surgeries.
Yep.
Because
what do you mean they're going to have doctors? Who's they?
The robots are going to do surgeries for you. Because you have to think of it from like, when a doctor is doing surgery, he can like fuck up. His hands could be shaking. He could have had a fight with his wife the night before. There's all these factors that are going to happen. The doctor can't see as well as a robot because the robot has more ability to analyze data. So eventually, that's where we're heading to. Like those kind of higher level education. Think about cars, right? In the next 20 years, we're not going to have people driving cars. Cars are going to be self-driven for the most part. Like trucks, UPS, USPS, like. We're heading toward
LiDAR and everything.
I don't like the idea of a semi truck being driven by.
It doesn't matter if you like
robot.
it or not. But here's the problem, right? If all the cars in the world was driven by AI, we would have less accidents. We would not have more. We would have less because all those AI's cars would talk to each other, so accidents would be less.
Let me ask you a question: have you ever been working on your computer or your phone, and you're trying to do something? And it glitches?
What do you mean?
Have you ever experienced that? Like where you're trying to make a reservation, you're trying to text message someone, or you're trying to do whatever task you think of, and has it ever just glitched, or you've had to restart it? Or like you've opened up too many tabs, or like you're doing an Excel thing and it's like, oh, it won't restart, you have to restart the computer. Have you ever had that experience?
I mean, not.
You've never had that
before
experience?
In the past, there was a blue screen.
So you're an anomaly. Have you ever had that experience?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Technology.
So this is why I would be a little bit more fearful, because if you're going 75 miles per hour or 65 miles per hour in a semi truck, and the AI bot that is amazing and can do everything has a glitch or has something where it needs to restart, dude, you just killed, how many
Okay,
people?
well,
So where's the value of life in comparison
then
to
a
all
drunk
that?
driver can just go and kill people too. Like you're literally, your argument is like,
I would say that there's more likely to be glitches in the technology versus more drunk drivers.
I think,
and there's safeguards for drunk drivers, right? You drive drunk, you go to jail, right?
Well, so
You get pulled over, and then you're not allowed to have a license anymore, right? So what happens when the computer glitches? You restart it. What's its consequence?
again,
Exactly.
I don't know that. But here's the thing.
the argument, I mean, thinking of like as someone who maybe owns a company of like a logistics company,
Yep.
where now they have labor laws where my driver can only drive 8 hours. If they don't make it to wherever they have to be in 8 hours, they literally have to park on the side of the road
And sleep, right?
Yeah, they can't move.
Yeah.
So
Some of them have cabins inside.
100%.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, they live in there.
Yeah.
But now imagine this: like, well, if it's autonomous, then
Mm-hmm.
those laws no longer exist. Logistically, we can move things 24/7.
Would you think that, though, in that case, there'd be more likelihood for glitches if it was going 24/7?
I think it'll be less because I feel like you have to like think about glitches.
You're
and
discussing
accidents.
a utopian society.
No, listen.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. You're talking about glitches.
You're saying that in a world with no glitches, with
Well,
Technology.
you have to. I guess mathematically, then you would have to just compare like.
yeah.
the
who's gonna
accidents
make
that
more
happen.
mistakes? Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
If I'm just looking at semi trucks, human errors versus the.
Yeah, this is an extreme example. Obviously, there could be
I
more
think
with
there would
others
be
to do.
less error from a computer than a human.
Correct. Yeah.
100% of the time.
I don't think it's going to be without error.
Maybe.
I think it'll be error. I think yeah. But I will. I will guarantee this that more humans cause accidents on the road than if there were robot cars.
Perhaps.
100. That's not even like
Yeah.
because the robot is just gonna keep getting better, where the human is not gonna keep getting better. Like there's a finite limit to how much a human can process and go, where this robot can have like, it can literally look at a satellite, fucking 50 miles ahead of all the cars. A human can't do that. But think about that. Like OpenAI, right? Like so Tesla model. Do you know what Tesla does? It collects data from.
No, I know. Yeah.
So it also has satellites on space. So when Tesla's auto-driving feature happens, the satellite is telling the car, saying, hey, like, this is what the road looks like from up here.
Yeah. Teslas have a whole other issue. When they break down, the wheels don't move. So you have to have, like, a tow truck that, like, slips something under the wheel. A wheel that should, from caveman days, just roll. It doesn't roll. It gets locked up. So this is, again, back to my point that there's going to be things that happen and errors. So, dude, maybe. I hope that there's more things that make
But
life
in
easier.
20 years,
for sure.
right? Think about it. In three
Maybe.
years,
Yeah.
3 years, we're able to do this where it can replace assistants in
Yeah.
offices, junior coders
Yeah.
in work. Like, we already have driverless cars run around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we have Amazon stores where they have no employees and it's strictly just like one security guard outside and then just like...
I've done that, yeah.
What I'm saying is
Pretty
like, we're only at
There's
the beginning.
steps.
We are
Yeah.
only at the beginning. So think about it.
It's like when the internet first came around. Like the first websites were pretty
Trash.
complicated.
It's static websites,
it's
right?
I built a website in high school. I
Right.
took a little coding class.
The
I wasn't very good. I think at the best I got was
HTML.
like a C+. Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
but imagine that.
I made a fishing website.
The original things of the internet were not very useful compared to today and age.
Yep.
Right? It's like 20 years.
See,
down the line.
now it's booking
like,
a flight.
What this feels like though is like the beginning of like 2.0.
Does it have your frequent travel number?
No, I don't think it has any of that
Okay,
information.
yeah.
But yeah.
You don't want to accidentally get a ticket there.
No.
Sorry, you
I
were
gotta
saying?
see if it's gonna actually book it.
It might not because like
Papa blocked.
It did book it. $98.
Oh,
$98.30. It did find me the cheapest
it charged you?
No,
It's on your card.
doesn't have access to it.
Okay.
it will get up to
Oh,
that.
It's trying to, yeah.
But it will tell you to take over and then make the payment.
No.
But check that out.
But you can
All I did was
add
say-
the API hooks to where like
It'll
it
buy
can
stuff
buy
for you.
stuff for you.
So you could just tell it, buy me this on Amazon or something. Or buy
Yeah,
me
that's
that.
probably easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
what
can-
I'm saying is like
And you can tell it has memory, so you could say, "Hey, this is my Alaska flight miles and blah blah blah." But check it out. So that all I said was, "Hey, book me the best flight SFO Santa Ana to SFO."
see,
November,
now it
blah,
says
blah,
take
blah.
over. Now you can just go and purchase
over,
and then
okay.
make the purchase. But again,
Yeah.
you have to think about this is so early,
Right.
right? Like, and there's already so much things that I see is going to change.
You're
from
very
this.
bullish on this topic.
It's not about being bullish.
You are,
Like it's
though.
about like seeing the
Objectively,
writing on
yeah.
the wall, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I think of for my job, right? Like
Yeah.
a customer comes to me
Yep.
and they're also looking at 7 different companies,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
eventually they're going to have their entire company infrastructure plugged into a certain Copilot or Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever these LLM models it is, right? That knows every single thing that happens in their company. Think about that. Every single fuck up, every single good thing, everything how they have designed their business.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, based on my entire company infrastructure from A to Z, which product should I buy? Should I buy product A or should I buy product B or product C or D, right? And it will tell you this based on what we know about your company from what we have gathered from all the data that you fed us. This is going to be the best choice for this. Okay, why do you need to come talk to me? Why would my company even have salespeople? They'll just have a buy button on the internet. And once they hit the buy button, it goes into implementation. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that factor is going to be completely removed. And that's what that's what I'm saying is we're heading towards. It's not going to be you being sold. It's you asking all the questions that you want to ask based on your requirements, and it will tell you what the best option is. Not like some sleazy salesman saying, oh no, I think this is the best. You don't fucking know what happens in their company. You're making the best estimation, but you really you just want to get the sale, right? That's going to get eliminated. It might take like 15 years, but
maybe
that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we're just the entire model is changing. The way people go to school is changing. Think about that. Like, the way you learn is changing from now. Like, before, when we were going to school, right, our entire concept of, like, school was, like, I need to study, pass a test, memorize something, and basically, get an answer right and move on to the next grade and so forth, right?
They don't do that today?
No, they do. But, that needs to change. Because it's going to be, how do I ask AI the right question to get the right answer? It's no longer about getting the answer. It's about asking the question. Because the AI is inherently going to know more. Whether you like it or not, it's going to know everything. It's going to just, at some point, just know everything.
I mean, I guess, like, in your example, like, which are the customers in your eyes that you say, man, this was easy, right? It was just kind of like just selecting the dots kind of thing, where it was just like the lowest of hanging fruits.
Yeah.
But it still took your time, right? It still took maybe a phone call. It still maybe took whatever, but they could have done this online, maybe connected to you,
right?
But they could have done this online systematically, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on kind of like what you're saying.
Like, I'm sure there's insurance marketplace people buy from. Like, I'm not probably that far off. Is there an insurance marketplace?
Personal lines.
Okay. Now think about that.
Yeah.
So you, as a buyer, a commercial, let's say you have a commercial property or whatever, right? You put all the information for that commercial property.
Yep.
Everything that is on your terms and condition, everything that you have about the property, you put it into the machine, and then it will search the entire marketplace and say, hey, this is what you should buy because of these reasons, and this is why it supports all of your points. There's no way the salesperson is going to fucking do that because he's just trying to sell you your product. He's not making an unbiased choice for you. He's trying to convince you why you should buy that product.
It doesn't have to be, like, again, to me, it's like it doesn't have to be like a scary thing of like they're coming for me. It's anything, it's like that low-hanging fruit, that's the part that technology, as we see it, couldn't take over. Giving you more free time to kind of create
do
that
what you want
for those other customers, right?
I don't have any fear about it, but I think that accepting your premise on everything as a rule of thumb would probably be false. I think that there's a market today for, let's talk about investing. I think that there's a lot of people who have a significant amount of wealth, let's say like 5 million.
Okay.
And today, they have the availability, they have a little bit of AI with the steps we're in to kind of have an idea of what is a good way to put that money to work and so that they'll be able to retire comfortably. Would you agree?
Okay. Sure.
But I would say more than likely there's a lot of people that trust an advisor for one reason or another. Would you agree to that?
Sure.
Yeah. Why?
Well,
because the AI, because
the
data has...
Okay.
It just doesn't have the data. Like, you haven't given
it... Well, today, everybody knows that the index, like the S&P, has pretty much beat out any other advisors and their,
Correct,
crazy ideas and just like, from the lifetime of the S&P, right? It has beat every other advisor, right? We all know that. It's not a hidden mystery. It's not... But there's still a number of individuals, wealthy individuals of different sizes, that decide... I'm gonna go with Joe Blow down the street,
And that's a pizza. I think it's a because like the Gen Z.
So why do you think that
after
is?
Us,
what do you guys think? Because you guys are both, I would say, fairly bullish on the concept of this taking a lot of jobs or improving
let me address this question of like the right now you go to the professional individual to get his insight because you think he knows more. Simply that, right? You are going to him because you think he knows more.
Right.
In the future, he won't know more. That's just what it is. Because the AI...
We know today he doesn't know more.
No.
I just said the S&P has outperformed any advice. And you agree to the premise, yes?
But what you're not understanding, that trust takes time, right? Like I think the second thing he was saying was like, the demographic change of people is going to bring on the acceptance of AI. Well, right? I mean, older people are less trustworthy to it versus like as we move forward in time. So I'm saying 20, 30 years. It is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the idea is like, you're right, this is not happening tomorrow. It's 20 years. So the demographic of people who has more than $5 million plus, the odds are they're probably 40, 50 plus, right?
Yep.
The odds are 20-year-olds don't have a lot of $5 million. Who are the people who are most accepting of new technology? Always it's newer generations, newer kids. We knew the internet a lot better than our parents because we grew up with it kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
This next generation that they've already been saying is like, because they're iPad kids and all these things, they are kind of growing up with this anxiety of kind of interacting with people. They much prefer significantly to interact with a piece of technology versus interacting with a human being. So right now, I think demographic, it's like what we're saying. It's like, well, I trust you to know more because you went to school, because you did this. You're right. They're actually pretty wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
But I trust because you went through the process and you know more than me. And again, they grew also in a time before the internet, before Google. So it's like, I'm not going to read a fucking book. I'm going to hire a guy to tell me what to do. And I'm not going to use Google because I don't even know how to use Google because it gives me 1,000 pages that tell me different things, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pay the guy to just take care of it for me, and whether he's right or wrong, hopefully he's right, you know? But that's going to start changing now because now I can ask Google in a very, not Google, but AI, I guess, in a very layman terms kind of way, and it could give me a somewhat half-built answer. But it will give you the next questions to kind of say, how can we continue to build this out?
Yep.
But the demographic piece that I'm saying is that the Gen Zers or the people behind us are so used to using technology now that they're going to be the adopters of this in the future.
So those are the people you feel would be less likely to use an advisor?
I think so.
Just because there are already patterns of this. So more like younger, so they broke the demographic out of what people in certain age group use ChatGPT for. So older people use ChatGPT more like Google, right? So people in our age group do a little bit more thinking on ChatGPT. We're more conscious of what we feed ChatGPT. And then the younger generation use them like a counselor, like an advisor already. Right? Yeah. ChatGPT, OpenAI is launching a business. What you're saying when
people get in kind of like soft-minded because they're using
for sure, because they're becoming so resilient on it, right?
But so with that premise in mind, they're relying so much on it. Now they're allowing it to kind of just feed them through the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the salesperson, almost in theory, that person who's taking them through becomes the ChatGPT.
Yeah. Again, it's not going to be needed. Like there's a time limit on this, right? 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever that is, it is going to be done.
Baby boomers are such a big number right now, but...
So OpenAI just launched this new platform, and it is targeted to take out McKinsey.
What's McKinsey?
McKinsey Consulting. Bain Consulting. You see all these big consulting firms?
What are they consulting?
They're like the MBA kids who get sent to companies to tell them, like, hey, you should fire 1,000 people.
Now OpenAI is creating
business
agents.
Advisors. Yeah.
Big time. They make fuck ton of money, like 500, 600,000.
Okay. You're suggesting this market is being influenced by AI.
OpenAI is already creating an agent like this that fed all the data it can, that can basically do what they do in matter of minutes.
You don't need an MBA.
Then you don't need somebody like a business consultant to come tell you how to improve your business because one, they might overlook something.
Yep.
But if you feed your entire infrastructure data to a chatbot and have it create like a certain plan for you, it can do it much better than the MBA person because it just knows more. It's a little hard to argue with somebody. It will just know more.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the timeline is.
Again, the big factor on this whole thing is like electricity and energy, right? So I think we might be further behind than we would like to be. But China's already testing underwater data centers, right? The biggest
Yeah.
cost.
So it's cooler, right?
Yeah, the biggest cost to AI is data centers.
Data.
How are you going to process the amount of energy it takes to process like?
It's a lot.
If you ask a question to ChatGPT, it's like $4. I think that's how much it costs.
Wow.
So you have to minimize that cost.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to go into that. How do you minimize cost for that? And as you minimize cost, the processing is going to get better because you can put more servers to do the analytics. So again,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we're
Basically,
we're
AI
little
is not
bullish.
gonna fuck anybody up. We're all good.
Hey,
Don't
hey.
worry about it. That's what you got to take away from this.
Even podcasters, man. Even us are at risk.
dude, we made an AI podcast.
No,
right?
we did make an AI podcast.
So we had a podcast completely. It was just AI.
Yep. Did it like mimic your forms?
Dude,
No,
let me.
It,
I think.
it
let me
actually had a pretty fluid conversation.
Yeah.
Look,
Surprisingly, like I was even very impressed. I was like, wow, like they would interrupt each other. Like they would have like even little like
Interesting.
let's see.
yeah.
What was
kinda
it called?
scary, to be
What was it
honest.
called? Story time.
Story time. Yeah. With Allison and Ian. AI.
I'm just not a big AI guy.
Dude, you know it's like I don't know.
But who knows? It could be something I adopt later.
It doesn't-
Maybe
yeah.
I'll be the late adopter.
I guess the thing is like you just keep your eyes open, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's like the internet.
I kind of miss the train on crypto though too.
It's kind of like that, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
let's head out. I guess.
Yeah.
Fucking kind of hungry or something.
Okay, well, episode 22.
We're
Lewis,
out.
thank you for joining us, man.
Glad to be here.
We'll see you all next week. Love you all. Ciao.
Where is that podcast?
All right, stop.